Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash. Let me say it again. Sorry, I noticed something outside. Anyway, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS rule as well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Anah. The title of this video is Faith Building. Yeah, I'm at this place and the lights was on, I believe, and it looked like the lights had turned off, but I didn't think anybody was here. But anyway, so the title of this video is Faith Building, and basically I'm gonna be going into Romans 15 and 4, Isaiah 59 and 19, and then I'm gonna get Maccabees, the third chapter. And it's basically going to a point where Yahweh Bashmial Shah will save us. Basically, and it's just what it says here, Romans 15 and 4. It says, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope." So something that we're hoping in is this right here. It's Isaiah 59 and 19, because these days are, approaching quickly, right? Isaiah 59 and 19, it says, "So shall they fear the name of the Lord Yahweh Bahashmiawashai from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun." It says, "When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord Yahweh Bahashmiawashai shall lift up a standard against him," right? And basically Esau Edom is coming in, and those scriptures, I know it's in second Esdras. It says second Esdras 15 in verse 14. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power." All right, so let me get this in 16 now. I'll start at 17. This is Second Esdras chapter 16, verse 17. It says, woe is me, who would deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? It says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. It says, but for all these things they shall not turn from the wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Right? And that that goes also along with if you look at Ezekiel 33 and starting at around 30, and then if you get down to, like, I'll just go to it real quick. But I mean, let me see. Basically warning the wicked to turn from the wicked way, right? And the destruction that's coming. But if you get down here at Ezekiel 33 and 33, it says, it's talking about our people coming to us, listening to us, but not actually taking heed to what we're saying. All right, so the lights in the factory just turned back on. All right, so I guess people in there playing games. Anyway, Ezekiel 33 and 33, it says, and when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that a prophet have been among them, right? So what's coming? Their destruction. And then I also said the other day, Lord willing, I wasn't going off, that even when Yahweh Shai comes, because a lot of people, we're giving a warning, but they don't know. And right here is a perfect example where, destruction is coming, but even for some of the destructions that's listed here, they're not mindful of it. It says in verse 20 here, it says, but for all these things they shall not turn from the wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So I just want to quick bring that out quick. Um, you know. Anyway, it says, "Behold, victual shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion." So I mean that's pretty much it. Very. All right. Verse 68 it says, "For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols." Right. So basically, this is talking about whoever you know these different government agencies, the different rulers of the world, starting with the banking families and things like that, whoever they send to take certain of us, right, to basically go to these detention centers and different things like that. Basically, the enemy coming in like a flood, and that's why it says take certain of you, right? Because all of us won't have that happen to us. Only certain of you will have that, and that's the point. So we're looking for. Oh, I got rid of it. I'll get it back. Isaiah 59 and 19, it says, "So shall they fear the name of the Lord Yahweh, Bashmi Awashai from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord Yahweh, Bashmi Awashai, shall lift up a standard against him." What's that standard? Basically a way for us to escape, you know, and flee, basically disappear. You get the definition here. And it says to flee, escape, to take flight, depart, disappear, to fly, to the attack on horseback, to drive at, to take flight, to put flight, to drive hastily, to cause to disappear, hide. And it could be anything. Spiritual powers. The scriptures talk about us getting even the archangel Michael, and Daniel 12 will be there for us. He could come there and stand in the way. Let me get that real quick. Because this is our hope. In these days to come, it says Daniel, the time of the end, Daniel 12 and 1, it says, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, and every one that shall be found written in the book." So Michael's gonna stand up for us, right? He's gonna come and he'll be here to protect us, right? Send up a prayer, your time of need, Lord willing. So anyway, let me get to the point now. So now this is going into an example of when the Lord how the Lord did that, for certain people already. So it is possible, if you thought it was impossible. Let us see. Now the point I wanted, let me see. I'll just yeah, I'll start kind of further down. You can read this second Maccabees 3 is pretty good here. I'll start a little bit down here. So basically a wicked ass individual went to the king and told the king that there was some treasure inside the temple, and that you know they should just come and get it. But anyway, the point is okay. Okay, so we'll start at 1 because it's all together. So it goes up to 40 verses. This is Second Maccabees chapter 3 verse 1. It says, "Now when the holy city was inhabited with all peace, and the laws were kept very well because of the godliness of Onias the high priest, and his hatred of wickedness, it came to pass that even the kings themselves did honor the place and magnify the temple with their best gifts, and so much that Seleucus of Asia of his own revenues bare all the costs belonging to the service of the sacrifices. But one Simon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about disorder in the city. And when he could not overcome Onias, he gat him to Apollonius, the son of the Rashes, who was governor of Caesarea in Phoenice. He told him that the treasury in Jerusalem was full of infinite sums of money. So this individual was upset about something, and because he couldn't have his way, he decided to do some dirt, right? So that the multitude of their riches, which did not pertain to the account of the sacrifices, was innumerable, and that it was possible to bring all into the king's hand. Now, how wicked is that, bro? Now, when Apollonius came to the king and had showed him of the money whereof he was told, the king chose out Helidorus, his treasurer, and sent him with a commandment to bring him the foresaid money. So the point starts at like 34, but we're gonna read it. So forthwith Helidorus took his journey under a color of visiting the cities of Caesarea and Phoenice, but indeed to fulfill the king's purpose. And when he was come to Jerusalem, and had been courteously received of the high priest of the city, he told him what intelligence was given of the money, and declared wherefore he came, and asked if these things were so indeed. Then the high priest told him that there was such money laid up for the relief of widows and fatherless children, and that some of it belonged to Hyrcanus, son of Tobias, a man of great dignity, and not as that wicked Simon had misinformed. The sum whereof in all was 400 talents of silver and 200 of gold. And that it was altogether impossible that such wrong should be done unto them that had committed it to the holiness of the place and to the majesty and inviolable sanctity of the temple, honored over all the world. Salakia for my reading, if it bothers you in any type of way, but as long as you understand and the point gets out there. So, and like I said, you can also come and read this for yourself. Verse 13. But Helidorus, because of the king's commandment given him, said that in any wise it must be brought into the king's treasury. So basically, so far, the dude went to the king and told the king of the matter, and the king sent this dude to basically get the money up out of the holy place, the temple, right? Because it was a lot of money, for some wickedness. So at the day which he appointed, he entered in to order this matter, wherefore there was no small agony throughout the whole city. So now everybody's upset because they see the king has sent his men to take all their money away, right? It says the priests prostrating themselves before the altar and their priest vestments called unto heaven upon him that made a law concerning things given to he kept, that they should safely be preserved for such as had committed them to be kept. Then whoso had looked the high priest in the face, it would have wounded his heart, for his countenance and the changing of his color declared the inward agony of his mind. For the man was so compassed with fear and horror of the body, that it was manifest to them that looked upon him what sorrow he had now in his heart, right? So basically, these individuals, will look at the high priest, and it was basically set in his heart. His face, countenance would change and things like that because he could see the agony of the people. It says, others ran flocking out of their houses to the general supplication because the place was like to come into contempt, right? Because all the money was about to leave out. It says, and the women girt with sackcloth under their breasts abounded in the streets, and the virgins that were kept in ran, some to the gates and some to the walls, and others looked out of the windows. And all holding their hands toward heaven made supplication, right? So all the people was like praying, upset. It says, and that's why, in our times of trouble, we just gonna pray without ceasing, of course. But it's already written that the Most High Yahweh Bashmi Shai will be with us. Then it would have pity a man to see the falling down of the multitude of all sorts, and the fear of the high priest being in such an agony. Then they called upon the Almighty Lord Yahweh Bashmi Shai to keep the things committed of trust safe and sure for those that had committed them. Nevertheless, Helodorus executed that which was decreed. So he was like, no, I'm going in here and I'm about to take all this money still. It says, now as he was there present himself with his guard about the treasury, the Lord of spirits, Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, and the Prince of all power, caused a great apparition, so that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of Yahweh and fainted and were sore afraid. Now, we can get this word apparition. One second, let me look it up on my phone here. Right, and that even happened, I believe it was over there in Florida at the mall, because that's where I live at. I live in Florida, right? At the time, I wasn't there, though. I was working. Apparition. All right, so it says in the regular Google search apparition definition, it says a ghost or ghost-like image of a person. It says also the appearance of something remarkable or unexpected, typically an image of this type. Basically an angel. Read that again. It says, now as he was there present himself with his guard about the treasury, the Lord of spirits, Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, and the Prince of all power, caused a great apparition, so that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of Yahweh and fainted and were so afraid. Right, and that's that standard, man. Left it up right there. They came in, they was ready. They seen the woman out there crying and slack cloth and everybody praying. It was like, we still gonna do this. And they went in there, and that's when Yahweh Bashmiel Shai showed his power. And it was like, okay, on second thought, anyway, it says, for there appeared unto them an horse with a terrible rider upon him, and adorned with a very fair covering, and he ran fiercely and smote at Helidorus with his forefeet, and it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had complete harness of gold, right? So that was his outfit, right? His fit, just straight gold. It says, moreover, two other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in apparel, who stood by him on either side and scourged him continually and gave him many sore stripes. So they did all these to the men that walked in there. And I'm thinking about I don't want to butcher the name, but basically Meshach, Abednego, when those three men were thrown into the fire, right? And they just said, okay, cool, we're gonna go in there to serve our Lord, and then an angel appeared to be with them. You know, that's for the if you know about that. Let me see if I can get that real quick. All right, so that's Daniel 3 and starting at verse 8. So that's what I'm talking about when I mention that. So what you can do is go read it, you know. See, worship of the image refused. What do you think that's talking about too? And now in this time, the mark of the beast. So the scriptures in Revelations around 13:16 says, let me get that too real quick. Revelation 13:15, it said, and he, Esau Edom, had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right, so now in this time, that's basically, going into his MOTB that he's going to be implementing, his technology, right, policies and different things that he's bringing in his new world order. That's the image of the beast, right? Everything that he's bringing in here in this fourth industrial revolution, but ultimately it'll be the MOTB. So if you read Daniel 3, starting at 8, these men were thrown into a furnace because of the refusal of worshiping an image. But let me see. Let me get that actually. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is the three men Daniel's friends protected. So even this is another. I'll read this because this is another example of that standard being lifted. So I'm gonna start at 19. See now that's the spirit. Daniel 3 and 19 says, "Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury." Okay, hold on. Yeah, so they basically said, nah, we're not doing nothing that you're talking about. We're not worshiping that image or anything like that. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar, full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because of the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the son of Yahweh Bashmiawashad. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High Yahweh Bashmiel, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire, and the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their head, singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Right, so nothing happened to these men, and that's that standard being lifted up, you know. And the apparition basically was in there, something that looked like an apparition, which really was an angel, you know. So there you go. Getting back to the point, back to the other point. It says, moreover, 2 other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in apparel, who stood by him on either side, and scourged him continually, and gave him many sore stripes. And Heliodorus fell suddenly unto the ground, and was compassed with great darkness. But they that were with him took him up, and put him into a litter. All right, and basically, they was about to kill him, but because of the Onias prayed for this man, the angels let him live. And it says so right here it says, so the high priest, suspecting lest the king should misconceive that some treachery had been done to Heliodorus by the Jews, offered a sacrifice for the health of the man that was about to take the money out of treasury, right? It says, now as the high priest was making an atonement, the same young men in the same clothing appeared and stood beside Heliodorus, saying, give Onias the high priest great thanks, insomuch as for his sake the Lord Yahweh Bashmiel Shai have granted thee life. You know, it says, and seeing that thou hast been scourged from heaven, declare unto all men the mighty power of Yahweh. And when they had spoken these words, they appeared no more. So that man got up out of there, right? So Heliodorus, after he had offered sacrifice unto the Lord Yahweh Bashmiel Shai and made great vows unto him that has saved his life, and saluted Onias, returned with his host to the king. So him and all his men went back. And this man, it said, then testified he to all men the works of the great power Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, which he had seen with his eyes. And when the king Heliodorus, who might be a fit man to be sent, it says, and when the king Heliodorus, who might be a fit man to be sent yet once again to Jerusalem, he said, so he went back to the king and everything. He said, who do you send? Who should we send to Jerusalem to try to get the money again? It says, if thou hast any enemy or traitor, send him thither. I can only imagine that's what they wanted, to get the money again. It says, if thou hast any enemy or traitor, send him thither. So he's basically saying, listen, if you got somebody that you don't like, send that person. Because when he go there, all hell is going to be waiting for him. It says, if thou hast any enemy or traitor, send him thither, and thou shalt receive him well scourged, if he escape with his life. For in that place, no doubt, there is an special power of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, right? And we are little sanctuaries unto Yahweh Bashmiel Shai in this day. And I say we, the hopeful elect. That's why that standard is going to be lifted up. For the majority of the hopeful elect. Some of us have to, be put to death. But majority is gonna get that that standard lifted up, and everyone will see that great power of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, right? And if he can do it for one person, he can do it for all. So it's everything is in the hands of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, right? This is his perfect plan that he has put together. It says, for he that dwelleth in heaven hath his eye on that place, and defendeth it, and he beateth and destroyeth them that come to hurt it. Right? And scriptures talk about the apple of Yahweh Bashmiel, the apple of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai's eye, right? And that is the Israelites. And in this time right now, the hopeful elect. It says, and the thing concerning Heliodorus and the keeping of the treasury fell out on this sword. So basically that was pretty much the story of what happened. And you can see that standard in two points I gave you, where the Most High made the apparition, which is basically the angels appear and aid, and once again, one of the great angels, an archangel, is gonna be here once again. That's Daniel 12. So hey, it says the time of the end. Where are we at? Look at 2nd Esdras, chapter 9, verse 5. Daniel 12 and 1, because we're at the end, right? We're measuring the time diligently in itself. We're seeing the signs come to pass. Everything the elder apostles been talking about since the beginning. I had to do something else real quick, but anyway, the end, the World War III, everything, right? So Daniel 12 and 1, it says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, right? And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time, right? So that's talking about Jacob's trouble, right? Jeremiah 30 and 6, Daniel 12 and 1, right? The time that's coming, I just gave you, the 2nd Esdras and all of that. So that time is fastly approaching, right? Because Esau, Edom got to come down with that great wrath. So, Lord willing, this built your faith. It built mine up, so I can only assume that it also built yours up. With that, I'll say shalom to the hopeful elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.